And the question is, at what point or under what circumstances does a public servant run foul of the asset declaration laws?
Well, what the learned lawyer said about declaring asset at point of entry and exit that is the position of the law. But to your question now, if in your declaration it has been established that you have made an anticipatory declaration, that is, you anticipate or you intended to acquire certain property while you are still in office, but you go ahead to declare that you have acquired them already. That is, a breach of the code. On the other hand, if you decide to under-declare, thus you have the properties already, the assets and the abilities on ground, but you decide to conceal them, that is also a breach of the code. Or where you use proxies, agents, nominees, to either conceal what you have or exaggerate what you have, is still a breach. Through what the third party, still a breach. But what mostly people do is to say they have this thing, but it is in trust, it is being held in trust for them. They take advantage of all the lacunas in the legal provisions, and there is nothing anybody can do about that until when such provisions are examined and brought in line with the vision of the anti-corruption philosophy.
Well, talking about anti-corruption in this case, I mean, I understand that from what you explained earlier, that anyone drawing a salary from the government ought to declare his or her assets. Now, that makes it a very large population of assets declarants. So, I mean, when does the Code of Conduct Bureau begin to go after those who run foul of the asset declaration law? Now, because you have so many people required to declare their assets, so, I mean, how does the Code of Conduct Bureau determine who they are going to go after?
That's why right from the beginning I told you that they need to improve on the capacity of that bureau. Because most of the personnel there need to be trained. And the second point, the operation of the bureau must be decentralized. Now everything is being from headquarters. You have a state director. I mean, if you send me to a state or to a local government, it is expected that you will delegate certain responsibilities to me. But now everything comes to the headquarters. So why would they have the capacity to examine all these things, fish out those that have run foul of the law, and then take custody of those that have complied? It is a very Herculean tax, which I think the Bureau have to make request, reorganize the whole place, and build the capacity to face the challenges. In the alternative, then they should categorize at what level of, are we going to concentrate on political office holders? Are we going to concentrate on senior civil servants? Are we going to concentrate? They have to find a way to overcome. Otherwise, actually, they cannot cope. It's not possible. Because if you look at local government, we have 774 local governments. Well, where is the capacity? So they will have to look for a way.
All right, Alhaji Buba, you said something about part of the role of the CCB being verification, confirmation, and then satisfactorily investigating assets. You know, it's rather curious that, you know, a public servant would declare assets and then after 12 years, inconsistencies would suddenly spring up. How do you react to the comment by the Senate President that he's being asked to present himself before the tribunal has political undertones, being a former member of the CCB? How do you respond to that?
You see, anybody, whether Senate President, the President, Governor, anybody, can say when he is charged the matter is frivolous, this and that. But what I want to observe is that it is not in the place of the Senate President or any person accused of breach of the law to say it is frivolous or otherwise. It is for the court to determine whether it has merit or not. So naturally, politicians have their way of doing things. I could remember when I was there, whenever we take an ex-governor or any senior person, you find that they go and hire people, comes around the place, beating drums, doing all sorts of things. Why? Just to kind of politicize the whole issue. What I'm trying to say is this. In this country, we will have to learn to say no to some of the things that are happening. And these things are, whatever you are, when there is an allegation of breach of law against you, accept the fact. Go to the court. Clear your name. But in as much as you will bring politics, irrespective of the circumstances of how he emerges as Senate President or any other person, once you are charged in court, you have the choice. It's a matter of choice to go there and kind of clear your name. But if you decide to say, okay, it is political, then you bring in political issues just to cause confusion. It will not go anywhere. Secondly, there is no way this country will fight corruption without the full cooperation of the judiciary. Therefore, that's why I agree with the legal practitioner there with you, that actually we need to address certain issues in the judiciary, though they are in the process of being that. But fundamentally, some frivolous objections or judgments that is not in consonance with the rules of procedures of courts should not be entertained by the courts. But you find that because of interferences here and there, which is a common thing in this country, that the judiciary was not spared of that kind of interference, so that it will not augur well for this country.
All right, thank you very much, Alhaji Buba.